Hi dear students, you are welcome in this video. Dear students, we are making a series on history of English literature, and this is, you can see, #43 history of English literature. And today in this video we are going to talk about age-wise important authors, works and poets and some of the events happened in that particular age. So here first we will talk about Old English period or Anglo Saxon period, and this is very important for SET and NET if you are preparing for competitive exams like this. So let's start with Anglo Saxon period. Here you can see that Old English or Anglo Saxon period is considered from 450 to 1066. Actually these dates are different because there are many scholars who think that the 1066 is the correct date because Norman conquest has happened in 1066, but some scholars consider that 1150 is the correct date, and sometimes this date is started from 460 to 1150. So this is also one of the dates. So you can consider this date according to your own opinion or your own review of the literature. So here we can find that the very first event in this period is Norman conquest, because this event has marked many changes in the Isle of England or British, and this is the very decisive step in the history of English literature, and this event becomes important for study. So you can study this Norman conquest in deep if you want. So there is material available on online. Just go to Wikipedia and find out Norman conquest. So this is important regarding the competitive exams. Some of the questions are asked on this Norman conquest. Now let's see what is the literature composed in this period. So very first we have the epic poem like Beowulf, and it is considered composed between 700 and 1025, and there are 3182 lines in the Beowulf. There is a story, so again you can study this story in deep, or you can have information regarding this story because questions are framed on this epic poem called Beowulf. It is one of the earliest poems in English literature. Then second we have Widsith, which is also called as the Far Traveller, and there are 150 lines in the poem. Next we have number 3 Walder. There are 63 lines in the poem, and these poems are one of the earliest poems in English literature. So you can have the beginning of these poems or the ending of these poems for your information, because there are questions framed on from where these lines are taken, or there are given the beginning of Beowulf or the other poems like Widsith or Walder, and the questions were asked as in which poem these lines occurs, or you have given the lines and then you have to recognize the poem. So you can find regarding this. Next we have the fight at Finsbury. There are 48 lines in the poem. And again we have the Battle of Brunabur. The battle is based on the Battle of 937. So this is also one of the important poems in the same period. So you can consider 450 to 1066, and there are these poems in the period. And last poem which is important in this period is the Battle of Malden. So these are one of the earliest poems composed in English literature. The authorship or who is the poet of these poems is not known. So anonymously these poems occur in English literature, and there are 4 books or 4 oldest manuscripts. For example, the manuscript of Vercelli or Exeter book, and there this literature is found, and this is again based on the Battle of 993, the Battle of Malden. Next we have the elegies which appear in Exeter book. So as I said that there are 4 oldest manuscripts in English literature, and one of them the collection is Exeter book. There is Vercelli book and other 2 books. So in Exeter book you find the elegies, and here we have some of the elegies. For example, the Wanderer, there are 115 lines. Now the dates of composition of these poems are not confirmed, and hence we consider them from 450 to 1066 or 1150. Next we have the Seafarer. There are 124 lines. Then we have Wives' Laments or Wife's Lament, 53 lines, and Husband's Message. So these elegies occur in Exeter book. There are 53 lines. Now you can have more information regarding these poems. Just go to Google or search, or try Wikipedia. So you need not to go into very deep of these poems. Just try Wikipedia and find out the beginning or ending or simple story or summary of these poems, and don't go into the deep analysis of these poems if you are preparing for these examinations. So it is enough for you that if you find out its story, summary or beginning and ending. Now let's see. Next we have the poet, or one of the earliest poets we can call Cadman, and he belonged to 7th century, and he composed some of the works. Here we have his 5 works. Very first is Genesis, second is Exodus, then Daniel, then Hymn, and Christ and Satan. So these are some of the works composed by Cadman, and Cadman is considered first known poet in English literature, or hence it is called as the earliest poets in English literature. And here we have the memorial of Cadman, and this memorial stands there in the Whitby. Memorial to Cadman, St. Mary's Churchyard, Whitby. The inscription reads, so there is an inscription on this memorial. Sometimes questions may be asked on the inscription. For example, let me read. To glory of, here is the inscription, to the glory of God and in memory of Cadman, the father of English sacred songs, fell asleep hard by 680. So he was died in 618, and this is given on the inscription or his tombstone. Let's move next, and next you have Wolfe. So pronunciation of this spelling Cinewelf, which belonged to 8th century, is Wolfe. So understand that. And he composed some of the important works in English literature. The Fates of the Apostles. Next you have Juliana, Eileen, Christ the Second, or this is also called as the Ascension. So these 4 works are important in English literature. So again, you can study these works or have more information. The very what is there in the work or what is there in the poem, all these are poems. Then we have one unknown poem called Dream of the Rood, or the poet of this poem is not known, and it is a genre of dream poetry found in Vercelli book. So there are Exeter book and Vercelli book. So this is found in the Vercelli book, Dream of the Rood. This poem also is important. You can study its theme or the summary and beginning and ending of the poem, so that you can solve the questions. Next we have development of prose in the same period. So prose has been developed in 450 and 1066. Now what kind of development is there? Let's see. Very first author we have King Alfred, or it is also called as the King Alfred the Great, and here we have his lifespan 848 to 901, and he is considered as the father of English prose. So this is very important. He is considered as the father of English prose, and he was a prolific translator. He translated some of the works into English, and let's see these works. Here we have very first, you can see Pastoral Care of Pope Gregory. Now Pope Gregory composed Pastoral Care, and this is translated by King Alfred, very first work. Then we have the History of the World, which is composed by Orosius. Then we have Bede's, Adam Bede's Ecclesiastical History, he translated, and Boethius's Consolation of Philosophy. So these works has been translated by King Alfred, and this is the development of the prose. For the first time in English we have this kind of prose, and they are in translation. So translated works by King Alfred. Then we have second author in this series of the development of prose, Alfred of Eynsham. So he was an abbot or head of a church of Eynsham, and his lifespan is 955 to 1010 or 1010, and he has composed some of the works like Grammar, Catholic Homilies, then you have Lives of the Saints and Colloquy. So these works have been composed by Alfred, and this is the Alfred. He was a churchman, an abbot of the church. So here third is Woolston, whose date of birth is not confirmed, but he was died in 1023, and Woolston also is important because he composed a work called Sermo Lipi ad Anglos. So this work also is important in the series of this history 450 to 1066. So now you can understand that these works and authors are very important in the Old English period or Anglo-Saxon period, which is considered 450 to 1066. Now you can have more information regarding these works or these poets. So this is very important in the history of English literature, Old English period, and how literature has been developed is given you in the Old English period. So you can consider these authors for your examinations and just find out what kind of questions or what questions were asked on these authors or poets and events happened in the Old English period. So this is all about this video. Let's meet in the next video. If you have any problem, any query, you can comment below in the comment section. Thank you very much.